All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for tuning in to Talk Time with Ty and Tia. This program is paid for and sponsored by Champions of Faith Ministries. I am your host, Regina Harrell, your motivational strategist slash author. And today I have a special guest with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Anthony Wright.
It's so great to see you and actually, being able to have a conversation with you today. And I'll just thank you for spending your time with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. So my topic today is actually it's called It's in Your Core. And so a lot of times people would do stuff and they'd be like, it's in my core to do, so they were like, what do that really mean? So that means that it was a gift that you were born to do. It's stability, it's balance in your movement, pretty much is what I'm meaning by it's in your core. So would you like to tell, everybody, I guess your experience in growing up, how was your young life?
Well, I'm from a small town here in North Carolina by the name of Vanceboro.
That's my hometown.
I have two other brothers. I'm the middle. I was raised by both my parents.
Okay.
I was blessed to be able to go play football for the University of South Carolina.
Cool.
And then after that, I was blessed to be able to play for 10 years in the NFL. So, like you said, I think athletics and competitiveness was in my core from a very young age, and I was able to use that to take care of my family. So I'm very appreciative of that, thankful to God for that, and now I just I help the younger kids with coaching at the local high school that's around the corner from me. My son actually attends it, so
that's
I kind of
cool.
help the kids now.
Wow. So when was the first time you picked up a football? Can you recall that time?
Oh man, I remember playing football for the Bandits. It was a recreational team in Vanceboro, and I think at the time I was just so hyper. My parents were just looking to get me to do something, and so that was kind of like an outlet for me. And once I started playing, I was kind of addicted to it. I was addicted to sports in general. And once I started playing, like I said, I had guys that I was looking up to that was playing that was older than me. I just wanted to be just as good as they were, and so that was kind of like my driving force, just to compete and to try to get to a level that I thought I could get to.
So, speaking of when you used to play football when you were younger,
Yes.
who would you say that your sports hero was?
A couple. If you're talking about local guys, probably Lee Beckton was probably the local guy. If you're talking about collegiately at the time, it was probably Jeff Blake. Then if you talk about, or also Charlie Ward, and then professionally at the time, it's probably Joe Montana.
Wow.
Elway, those kind of guys. So I had different levels that I was kind of looking up to, and also Jesse Campbell. Jesse Campbell at the time, I think when I was young and in middle school, I think he might have just been getting to college or the pros. So locally, it was Jesse Campbell and Lee Beckton, and so that's kind of how I. Those two guys are kind of the guys that kind of like set the benchmark for me to try to achieve things.
Cool. So when it comes to inspirational things, what was like a quote or something you actually went by?
Oh man. I always believed that I could do all things. Through Christ who strengthens me. So I never really had any beliefs outside of that I could do it. I always believed that I could do it. No matter what it was, whether it was sports or whether it was, academically or whatever. I always felt like I could do it if that's what I wanted to do. for some reason, it was like sports created a challenge for me because it was like it was an opposition.
Right.
That opposition gave me a lot of drive. And but I always felt like I could do anything.
Right.
If I wanted to be, could have been.
And that's cool that you even brought that up. Because normally whenever I start my show, I always start out with a scripture. And that was my scripture, actually, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things within Christ that strengthens me. And so that is very inspirational. Because I mean, even when I was in the military. So in boot camp, whenever we had to do something scary or crazy, I would always do the Lord is my shepherd. And it carried me through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's a powerful thing because you have to always have something that you can always fall back on mentally. You know what I'm saying? You said the Lord's my shepherd. It gave you a certain type of strength.
Right.
Within,
right.
You know what I mean? But that's powerful.
And see, and there's just that, okay, so I know that throughout my day, I'm gonna be guided, and I'm gonna be guided into the right direction. So who you say first discovered your talent that were like, man, you really good, you could take this far?
Man, it was probably the head coach for the team, for my rec team that was ahead of me. And his name is slipping my mind right now, but I was actually on the, I think, 7, 8, 9-year-old team. And I was about to move up. And I think the coach that was coaching the 10, 11, 12-year-old team, he was the first coach to look at me and see me. I guess we would do like just playing around before practice and stuff. And he must have been watching me and saw how I threw the ball and stuff. And he was one of the first ones that took interest in me playing quarterback. So when I was moving up to play with the 10, 11, 12-year-olds, they actually canceled rec football those years. Wow. So I didn't get a chance to play at those ages. But I would say the coach that was ahead of the team that I was playing for was probably the first one to really recognize me as being like a guy that could play the quarterback position and a guy with talent.
Wow. Now, whenever it comes to different stuff like that, like when you was first drafted, what was that feeling like? Like, what was the emotions that you actually experienced?
It's kind of crazy because I actually wasn't drafted. I was went in as a free agent, undrafted free agent.
Wow.
So, going in as an undrafted free agent, I had a lot of, I was kind of disappointed. I was upset, disappointed at the fact that I didn't get drafted. And so I had a chip on my shoulder because I knew I was better than a lot of the guys that had gotten drafted. And so I know I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to show them show everybody in the league that, I was a guy that could have been drafted, should have been drafted. But with that being said, too, I had injuries my senior year in college. So that kind of was some of the reasons why I didn't get drafted. But still, the disappointment was there. And so I was able to go in and like I said, I came in through the back door, but I made it.
That, man, listen, that right there was just inspirational. That just let people know, don't give up on your dream. Especially if your value, especially if you know what you can do.
Right.
And I'm glad that you didn't stop there. I'm glad you kept on going until you got to where you were going. So once you got there, what was that reaction? What was that emotion?
It was kind of surreal, really. It was, at the same time, when you're working for a long time to get to a goal, and when you finally get there, it's like it's part of the process. So, it's not really, you kind of expect it. And so I was kind of expecting it because that was the belief that I had. But at the same time, it's surreal because you're actually in it, you're living it, you're actually there.
Right.
So when I was, when I made the team, it was like, wow, I'm on an NFL team, right? Wow. But it's all, you don't really have time to soak in it because you gotta keep moving, you gotta keep preparing, you gotta keep playing, you gotta keep getting better.
Right.
So you get a chance to really sit back and enjoy it, right? Really just let it like just come all over you, overwhelm you. Because you gotta keep going, you gotta keep moving. So, but I'm telling you, it was definitely a blessing. It was surprising to the organization because at the time, like I said, I was undrafted, so they brought me in just to be like an arm for camp. But so when I came in, I actually made the team. It was surprising to them because they was like, "Wow, this kid is really good." And so it was all just a blessing. It was all just a wonderful blessing.
Cool. Now, who would you say that your support system was there?
Oh, my parents, my family, my parents, my high school coaches, brothers, my entire family. That's one of the things that I always contribute to myself to making it. You know what I mean? Is that I had a support system that was able to stay with me throughout. They both my parents supported me. They made sure we had everything, as far as me and my brothers, we had everything we needed. And they made sure I was grounded spiritually, emotionally, physically. I was grounded. And so, those things are very important when somebody's trying to make it, because it can get hard if you're at it by yourself.
Right, absolutely.
So I thank my parents, I thank my coaches, like I said, and I thank my brothers. It's my entire family really for being there for me.
Cool. Now, during y'all practices and everything, because I know all practice is not like, oh yeah, we having fun or whatever. Like, what were some things that you can remember that made practice fun or memorable?
Well, just competing against the best. When you get a chance to compete against the best, you get to see where you are.
That's good.
And then you start to realize that it's different levels to it. The competition is really not against them; it's against yourself. So once I see where I am, and I see what I need to improve on, now I got to work on those things to get better. And so, getting a chance to play against the Ray Lewises, the Ed Reeds, getting to play with the Troy Aikmans and the Emmitt Smiths and those guys, and play against Deion Sanders, to get a chance to do that and to be against the best and perform against the best, I think for me, that's one of the most memorable things about playing in practicing.
Oh, wow. That was cool. I know that was cool.
It was.
Got to play with some of the guys and stuff that you actually were watching on TV maybe. And so when it comes down to, I know that we have some good days and we have some bad days. Like, what was some words of encouragement from somebody that actually kept you going?
Well, I always had a guy when I was in Dallas. He always tell me, keep chopping wood. That's what he would tell me, keep chopping wood, keep chopping wood. And like eventually the tree will fall, right? And so that was one of the sayings that I used to always fall back on whenever I felt like I was going through something that was tough, I was struggling. I would just keep going, keep chopping wood, just keep pushing along, keep your head down and keep moving, keep moving, keep moving.
Right.
The finish line is getting shorter, the finish line is getting shorter. And so that's kind of one of the things that I just kept in my head all the time, just keep repeating. Just keep chopping wood, just keep chopping wood. Don't stop, don't stop. The tree's gonna fall, the tree's gonna fall. And I was able to last because of that. You know what I mean? I always kept that thought in my mind, and I just kept chopping for as long as I could chop.
That's good right there. Now, so when it comes to if you can actually talk to your younger self, knowing everything that you know right now, what advice would you give your younger self?
Well, I would tell my younger self to focus, zone in on the things that are important. I would have zoned in on school. I would have zoned in on my profession, sports. I wouldn't have let outside distractions get to me. I wouldn't have been thinking about females like that. I'd have just been focusing on my craft, school, and I would let those other things come later, right? And I would just focus on my craft and my school. And because I always tell my son now, I'm like, listen, what you want to do is you want to work hard now while you're young,
right?
So that when you get older, you can do whatever you want to do. And so I was like, and I always tell them that now. So that's one of the things that I would do. That just focus on your craft, focus on yourself and your craft. Just improve yourself and your craft first, and then let the other things come.
Absolutely, and that's great advice too. So, for the young men that's going to be out there listening, that would be great advice to actually take from you, because a lot of them are growing up in homes without their fathers. They don't get advice and stuff like that. And it's all pretty much almost like all they hear is defend yourself, defend yourself, defend yourself. Like no form of hope or anything. So that's great advice to actually give. When it comes to like what's going on and stuff now, what do you have, like any new endeavors, anything going on with you?
No, I'm just, like I said, I'm coaching over here at the local high school. I just want to make sure that I kind of mentor and guide my son. He's playing the same position. He's doing pretty well. So I'm just making sure I guide him with the knowledge that I've gained over the years so that he can be prepared when his time comes. Like I said, the same thing advice that I just gave you is what I give him. You know what I mean? As far as just focus on yourself, man. Focus on self-improvement. And then focus on your craft, focus on your school, and then because you want to put yourself in a situation later on to where you kind of do what you want, or you can be more in control of your life. You don't have to go work a 9 to 5 for somebody or whatever, or be 7 years old talking about having a job, right? So that's some of the stuff that I teach him now. And my goal right now is my kids. It's just making sure my kids. I have 3 kids, so just making sure they are fine. It makes sure they are fine, making sure they have an understanding about life. How to deal with it.
Because speaking of your kids, I was going to ask you, how do you actually balance your career and your family?
Well, at the time when I was playing, the blessing that I had about playing football was that you're not going as much as, say, baseball or basketball. So you actually can have a family life. You really only just go on the weekends if it's an away game.
Okay.
I was able to still have a family life. My family was with me wherever I played. So that was a blessing for me. So I was still able to have a pretty good family life when I was playing.
That's awesome, because you don't get to hear stuff like that often. They always say, oh, he's always gone, or if she's playing sports and stuff, she's always gone. And we don't get that family time, and that's why our bond and stuff is broken. And so that's good that you had a chance to actually spend time and stuff with your family. So when it comes to like different situations, like have you ever been like in a position where like a young fella was having like an attitude problem or something, couldn't handle himself? Like how would you diffuse something like that if you saw him in that predicament?
I mean, really, if I saw a kid that was kind of having a tough time, probably one of the first things that I would do is try to see where his mind is, see what's going on, what he's dealing with, and to see if he's open to advice.
Right.
And if he's open to advice, then I would just try to give him different experiences that I may have. If I have similar experiences, I would give him different experiences I've had and how I kind of dealt with it. Because I kind of feel like as mentors, parents, our job is kind of like to recon the situation, to go out, survey what's going on, and then bring the information back to our loved ones. And so as an older mentor, I think it's important for us to bring that information back to those that need it. Right. So if somebody's struggling with a certain thing, and I may have information on that thing, I'm gonna give you everything that I have, all the information that I have, to help you make a better decision, so that you won't go through certain things as opposed to others. One of the biggest advices that I would give to a kid, like I said, even to myself back then, but one of the greatest advice that I would give to a kid is to get a mentor. Find a mentor.
Right.
And someone that you can truly confide in, somebody you can truly share your thoughts with, someone that you can truly get good advice from. Make sure that they're knowledgeable, and they'll help you avoid a lot of pitfalls.
And I think it's a wonderful thing that you're actually engaged in your in activities and stuff with your son's sports. Like how did you actually get like wrapped up into the coaching part of it?
Oh man, well, coaching your kids is kind of tough,
Yeah, because they don't like to listen to us.
Right. So what I do is, I teach them and tell them, obviously as a parent and as a coach, you got to be repetitive with the things that you say. So I also this coming fall, some winter, I'm going to get someone else to also help coach him. Because sometimes I can say the same thing that the other person is saying, but because it come out of someone else's mouth,
that part,
they receive it better.
they
and so, like I said, but it's been good because he has learned a lot. I've seen an improvement from year to year as he's grown into his position and things that he's doing. But I'm just going to continue to, like I said, keep chopping wood with him. Just keep, just make sure I stay under his development, stay watching his development, and making sure it's going in the right direction.
Right. So, I mean, like I said, and not too many people know about Vanceboro, but they put out some pretty good people, for it to be a small town.
Yeah, it has. It really has.
So, it's just a blessing just to be on the map, but, it's just for like, even, when it comes to the younger females, because like, I'm not a sports fan like that. I don't watch sports and stuff like that. So, and probably because I don't know anything about sports.
Yeah.
And that might be it. So, but like for the younger females and stuff also who's out there trying to get it, try to, get out there, get known and everything. Like, what advice would you give her?
Well, I would tell her the same thing. I would tell the young men, like, focus on yourself and your craft. Focus on yourself and your craft. Don't get caught up in no guys, and don't get caught up in what's going on social media and all those type of things.
Right.
Like, just take all your time and all your energy and focus on you, your self-development, and your craft, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And if you do that, if you put your energy in the right direction, you're gonna end up where you want to go. It's when that focus or that energy starts to go in other directions, it's going in those directions. So I would that's one of the main things I would say is just to focus your energy on your craft and the things that you want in life and your self-development. And you're going to.
Right. So, and I just feel like it's just so important for our kids to know things like that, because like I said, especially in the pandemic, a lot of them, they weren't able to get the practices and stuff in that they, need to with their coaches because of the social distancing stuff at the time. So I'm pretty sure they was working on their craft and stuff at home. So if back then, if you were in that situation, how would you actually handle that? I guess to be able to still enhance your craft.
Well, it's funny because we live in an information age, right? So we live in an information age, and I tell people all the time. Like, back when I was coming up, back when I was coming up, we didn't have this kind of information. Like, we didn't have YouTube, or we didn't have social media where they're showing different type of workouts that you could do at home, or different things you could do to get workouts in to hone your craft. Everything you could do via watching television or looking at YouTube. So what I would do now for the kids in the situation was I would have been studying YouTube if I'm really trying to work on my craft. And I would go in my backyard and maybe work on some of those things that I'm seeing on YouTube. And so, like, for instance, if I'm a quarterback, I'm trying to work on my footwork. There's tons of footwork drills you can find on YouTube. If I'm a basketball player, I'm trying to work on my jump shot. There's tons of YouTube videos that show you how to improve your jump shot or how to improve your vertical if you're trying to jump higher. So, I mean, nowadays, it's really like the excuse is not like it was when we were coming up, where it was like, you had to go to like New York, or you had to go like out of town to get this type of information, because there was really nobody in Vanceboro to really give you this kind of information, right? But nowadays, all you gotta do is pick up your phone or go to your computer. Information right there, and you can just copy it. So that's what I would suggest, and I would have suggested, is just to, hey, do your homework. Like I said, it's readily available. It's right there on YouTube or whatever. Go get the information, and then just go in your backyard and work on it.
Wow. And look, a lot of times I'm just a different breed, but when it comes out to shoes and stuff, when it comes out to Nike, I was like, I wonder where did Just Do It come from? And it's always a root of something. So I looked it up, and they were saying that the slogan for Nike actually came from a convict facing a firing squad. And they asked him, what's your final thoughts? and he said, let's do it. Right.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
But
that. No, now.
but Dan, I think it's Weiner, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Weiner. He took that slogan and took less off and put just do it. And I was like, wow, but do you know he was shot down when he first brought the slogan to the Nike co-founder? He was, yes, they was like, we don't need that. We ain't using that slogan. But he somehow got them to trust him enough to say, hey, this is gonna take us a long ways. So when Nike Just Do It came out, it took off.
Yes.
So he gotta know.
Yes.
First. You know, so I thought it was inspirational when I saw that. I said, I want to mention this in there. But yeah, that's what it actually came from, a convict who was actually facing under fire. And they asked him, what is your last word, sir, before we take you out of here? And he said, let's do it.
Sound like he was ready to go.
Right. But because Dan took the initiative to say, okay, well, I'm going to change the slogan to just do it. And once it took off, you know, when people start wearing the Nike shoe, it was like it gave them hope that I can do this thing.
Yeah.
So
but the model makes sense. Makes sense. A lot of people get caught procrastinating and waiting. Like it does. No, everybody ever does it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that's the difference between winning and losing, or success and failure, is actually doing it. Right. You know, because the failure is really not as bad as people think. You know what I mean? Because with failure, if you're really trying to improve, if you're really trying to get somewhere, failure is going to teach you a lot. Right? It's going to teach you a lot. And so you can learn from it. You know what I mean? Learn from it and then go out the next time and using the information you got from it to try to be better. So
that's cool. I just thought I had to throw a little tidbit in there because I was like, wow, man, that's good right there.
I know that now, though. I didn't know that.
Yeah. You know, like I said, sometimes you have to research, you know, why certain things is happening and why certain ideas give people hope. And, you know, it's just strange of where it came from. So, but I thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you.
For being here. And for the ones that's watching and listening, thank you for tuning in with Talk Time with Ty and Tia. And I always end with, Lord, open the doors that need to be open, close the doors that need to be closed. Let the open doors be so obvious that I may walk in my purpose just for today. And I'm out.